right, apparently Pro Football Focus posted a chart where it showed the most disruptive defensive backs in the league. I think blitzes, interceptions, batted passes, not blitzes, but sacks, forced fumbles, and all that stuff, probably fumble recoveries. And Brian Burns by Pro Football Focus was, on this objective today, deep analytics, was the most disruptive defensive back. Now, F.A. Melifano would have been second, but he had less than 600 snaps, which was the minimum threshold for you to make the list. I think he was at 536 or maybe 590 something. He wasn't far off. Other than that, he would have been second most disruptive. But let's talk about it. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Both drafted by the Detroit Lions and by Brad Holmes. I believe he drafted F.A. Melifano. Yeah, that was his first draft. People forget in that Monday night game where the dude from the Patriots, we got the defensive end, Trey Flowers, he kept getting a holding call even though he wasn't holding. People forget in that game that F.A. Melifano was putting the clamps on Devontae Adams in that game. And then he got injured, and then that's kind of when the game kind of started to go a little bit left. But yeah, Brian Burns was a great pickup, safety. He really was expected to get in where he fit in and kind of be a utility player. But he beat out C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the nickelback position. That pushed Gardner-Johnson to safety, and he won that job. And he started off hot, pick versus Kansas City. I mean, he kind of hit like a rookie wall a little bit at some point, but he recovered and, had another great season. He was great in the run game because now a lot of nickel defenses are now the base defense for a lot of teams, That's their base defense. With most guys coming out in 3 wide receiver sets or these, athletic tight ends being split in the slot or being out in the slot. So for the most part now, teams are looking for nickel backs that can basically be linebackers that's good at stopping the run, that can also cover slot receivers, main receivers, corners. I mean, not corners, but tight ends and all these running backs that go off in the slot or whatever. So he did well. He held his own all last season. Good against the run, good off the blitz, good at turning over, and making plays and tackling and all that. It's him because he got that green mouthpiece sticking at the top of his helmet. I'm surprised the NFL ain't trying to ban that. Anything that look cool or that look irregular, they try to ban it. So I'm surprised they ain't bring that up at the league meetings or whatever. So that surprised me, but nonetheless, baller, disruptor. So I know they say he walking around in a walking boot right now. So I don't know how serious it is, but you got 2 defensive backs is injured. Kirby Joseph had to have hip surgery. Neck hurting today. Had to have hip surgery, and then we had Burns in a walking boot. So you just never know. But they brought back C.J. Moore off of suspension. More special team depth guy at safety. So yes, I know they was in the business of looking for a safety. They drafted a guy to Utah, but he gonna play running back. But nonetheless, but yeah, I think he was a pleasant surprise. He splashed really before any other rookie did because Jahmyr Gibbs was getting he was getting a small dose. Well, Sam Laporta, other than him and Sam Laporta, and then Jack Campbell kind of was getting eased in there. And then he took over towards the end. So Burns and Laporta was the ones making the instant impact, to be honest. And then Jahmyr finally joined the party, and then Jack Campbell joined the party, which that's the hardest position to transition from, is either that linebacker or tight end. So, but then with F.A. Melifano, just a guy that had a bunch of injuries. Big guy, 6'3", 200-pound, muscular guy. Just don't know what's the issue with him having so many injuries. I don't know if it's just bad luck, if it's nutrition or whatever, or just ain't built to play football. But when he out there, especially at safety, which we ain't seen a lot of him at safety, I think he more was a utility guy. I would like to see his snap breakdown. He was an awesome blitzer. Can cover top receivers, can cover nickel receivers, can obviously, play the deep half or the deep zone of the field. We've seen that. Him jumping that route on Justin Jefferson and win that Vikings game at the end of the season. I think that game pretty much solidified for Brad Holmes that they had a cornerback problem for real. And he went out there and he attacked that in the draft. So, yeah, he was very disruptive this season when he played. got turnovers, got picks, had a pick in the Dallas game, forced fumbles, was a great blitzer. He didn't tip when he was coming and when he was not coming. Thing about it is, now he can blitz and he can tackle. Also he can cover. So you don't know if he blitzing, he not coming, whatever, a delayed blitz, athletic, and then when he get back there, he wrap up and he can tackle. So, yeah, he wrap up and he can tackle. So, yeah, and he can catch the football. So yeah, they got some promise back there. You wonder if Ennis Rackstraw Jr. and Terrion Arnold are going to contribute. I mean, Amick Robinson, Carlton Davis, so it's new faces and new places. So when you talk about all the corners that's coming back, really, it's Vidor. Chase Lucas gone. Cam Sutton, he up out of there. He ran and it was only a misdemeanor and probably could have kept his job. Vidor is probably the only guy back as far as cornerbacks in the room, unless you consider Brian Burns being the nickelback. So there's talks about him going to safety. So we don't know what's going to happen. So they got a lot of depth there, but an injury or two can change that. And they're already dealing with two, with Burns with the boot and Kirby with the hip. So, but when you got the depth they got, Moore, before he know the system pretty well. Branch can easily play safety. F.A. Melifano can play outside, inside corner. He can easily play safety. So, Rackstraw can play that Gardner Johnson role. The Star, nickel, safety. So, you got a bunch of just, different guys to play with. Amick can play nickel or outside. Terrion can play nickel or outside. Carlton can travel and be the number one, play nickel outside. So, yeah, you got a lot of depth there. I know there's some concerns about Carlton Davis and his injury history, but, seemed like going out there, getting two corners, getting Amick Robinson, bringing back Vidor, that pretty much answered that. So we'll see, but shout out to Burns and F.A. Melifano. They can stay healthy. Lions can have two more studs on two more Pro Bowlers and studs on their hands. So just gotta wait and see. But they both can tackle. They're both impact players. And I think a lot of people read a lot into Brian Burns' 40 time. And that kind of, I don't know how Melifano would he lasted the third or fourth round. Maybe because he was up there in Syracuse, and that's more of a basketball school. But looking at his measurables, you just don't understand how that happened. But thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist for more videos like this. Hit the link tree. Find me on Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts. Check out the Patreon. Well, not the Patreon, this one, or Apple Podcast. But check out the channel out, Goodfella TV. The link's in the link tree. But let me know what you girls and guys think. And yeah, the new faces in new places. We might have some old places and new places as well too, as far as positions. So kind of exciting. New jerseys, new mindset with the Lions, and hopefully it's a fruitful one. Peace.